Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Zyblo here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over my first ever build guide in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And for my videos, I'm going to be doing quick explanations in the beginning and then showcasing it towards the end. So if you want to skip to the showcase and you just want to see what the build looks like and how I play with the build, then you guys can go check that out in the timestamp down below. You guys can just skip the video. But if you want the explanation, I'll be doing it in the beginning. So to start us off, you can actually use this build with all your characters. You would just put the same parts to your other characters. When it comes to the talents, that would be the only difference of where you would have to test some things out. But I'm using this build on Boomerang because that's just my favorite character. I'm using the Black Mass Bulletstorm master weapon. I'm using the master version of this one. The reason why is because of the burn. I like this burn ability. This is the augments that I'm using on it. You guys can pause the video if you want to put these same exact augments. And I like pairing this with the Heat Waves Molten Skin shield mod. So I have the master version also of this one, and this is the augments I use. And the reason why these two are really good if you pair them together is because whenever you burn enemies with this weapon, you'll be invulnerable to damage for a certain amount of time, up to 30 seconds, if you're constantly burning enemies, and it's just really good. This is really good for if you do care about that survivability. You know what I'm saying? But it's also just fun to play. Because I like using this weapon a lot. It would make no sense not to have this item right here since I like using this weapon. You know what I'm saying? So I mainly just use it because it just works well together. And then you'll notice on my melee weapon and my grenade, I have the Diablo Blaze Affliction that I use so that I'm constantly being able to be invulnerable from damage, and it just works well. You know what I'm saying? So the second weapon that I'm using is the Tier 1 Death Rattle SMG. The only reason why I'm using it is not to actually use the weapon. So when it comes to the augments, to me, it doesn't care, but this is what I have on it. But I don't really use this weapon unless I need to. The main reason why I have this is for the peace bonus. So the peace bonus is each melee hit on an enemy has 50% chance to craze it and 50% chance to drop grenade ammo. And the reason why I have this and why this works well with this specific build is because my playstyle is just meleeing things, getting up close to it, and just frying it with my sniper rifle. And then throwing nades if I need to just insta kill like brutes, for example. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I have this piece bonus, and I just feel like it's really good because you're constantly being able to craze enemies and use. You don't need to have like the affliction of craze on your melee weapon. You don't need that in order to actually craze things. You know what I'm saying? So you're just constantly being able to craze things, putting that affliction, and then just getting massive damage. You know what I'm saying? The next item that I'm using is the Master Two Faces Persuader. I think this is the best melee weapon in the game, 100%. It just does massive amounts of damage. The Suicide Strike, as you can see, my Suicide Strike damage is at 309,000. But every single time that I use the Suicide Strike, I swear I'm hitting like 2.1 mils, 3 mils, even 4 mils. Like it goes that high. So it's crazy. And then another reason why is because every melee hit on crazed enemy has 50% chance to drop either a live grenade or grenade ammo. So that's just extra damage and also extra grenade ammo that you're getting from both here and here. And then another reason why this is insanely good is because since I told you I like meleeing everything, so whenever I'm able to harvest an enemy, there's a 100% chance that it drops grenade ammo and also increases grenade damage by 100%. So I'm also getting grenade ammo guaranteed from this, and constantly just picking up nades and being able to throw multiple nades at enemies. And then also if I do harvest an enemy, it increases the grenade damage for 100%. So what I like to do whenever I'm fighting the brutes, like in that one incursion mission where there's like a lot of brutes, is I'll melt the brute, and then when it becomes harvestable, I'll harvest them, and then I'll throw a nade right after, and it just insta melts the brutes because of how much damage you're just doing with nades. And I mean, that's just the way I like to play. It's just fun, to me. And then I'm using the Master Rain of Bane grenade. It's a tier 3 grenade, so this set or this build that I'm using does require tier 3 items, so it's not that hard to get to the tier 3 stuff. But once you do, I have the master version of this one as well. This is what I'm using for the augments, and I have Diablo Blaze on it just because whenever I throw a nade, it'll just put everything on fire, and then I'll be invulnerable to damage. So it's just for the survivability. But as you can see, I have 50% damage grenade on crazed enemies because I've noticed that like usually whenever I do throw the nade on the enemy, they're usually crazed most of the time. So I'm always getting that consistent damage. You know what I'm saying? And then to pair this tier 3 set, I put the neck bomb tier 3 and the lucky charm tier 3. This is the augments that I'm using on the lucky charm. This is the augments I'm using on the neck bomb. And the piece bonus is just really good for tier 3. That's the reason why I use it. And then the last thing is the traversal mod. I have the Lex Luthor traversal mod on, and the reason why is just for the 50% critical damage to brute enemies. So it's just to kill the brutes faster. And that's pretty much it for the build. And then when it comes to the talents, this is the talent tree. You guys can copy it. But the main thing is this item right here. Like, this is the main thing for the build, which is just melee hits, slow enemies for 5 seconds. It basically feels like you have the freeze affliction. It's really good. And yeah, I would recommend this. And then when it comes to the squad points, you know, you guys don't have to copy mine. I use the 50% or the 40 on sniper rifle just for extra damage on the sniper rifle since I'm constantly just using it. But like I said, you guys can change it up at yourself. I don't even have this unlocked yet. I'm getting there, but yeah, this is what I use. This is just what I like to use. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, a lot of these builds, you know, that you're making in Suicide Squad, they're mainly for me specifically, just to beat the mission. I don't really care about like leaderboards and stuff. So as you can see right now, I'm actually fighting 3 of the big brutes on this one incursion mission. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by like why I feel like this build is really good. I clearly fried that right there. But yeah, this is how I kind of play around with it. I'm gonna harvest this so I can pick up a nade, right? And then you see how it's frozen. I can pick up the nade easy. And then since I have more nade damage, I just throw a nade and look how fast I melted that brute. I just basically took it down to health, right? I just have to put a little bit more damage to it, and then now it's gonna become harvestable again. I'm waiting for it. I'm kind of setting up, just avoiding damage. I actually didn't even get it right there. So sometimes you'll get unlucky, you see what I mean? But as long as it's frozen, you can get away from it because you have a lot of time. So if you ever get unlucky like that, this is why I like this build, because every time I melee the brute, I basically freeze them. So I don't have to worry about taking that damage, and I can just get away. But as you can see, it is sometimes annoying. You're just constantly like getting chased by these brutes. So you just have to avoid the damage as best as you can. I mean, it's just really hard. Keep in mind sometimes. It's not like I'm doing a little bit of damage either. I am doing a lot. It's just that these brutes are kind of a pain to deal with sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the build.